Good morning from day 11, Sunday, May 7th. It's early. The sun is just starting to come up where we can see it. It's like 5:45. So we're getting packed up. We're going to have, right now it's still nice and cold, so the snow should be really good. Getting up and over the bonds. And after a lot of thinking, I think when I get down to Lincoln Woods, I'm going to call it there. I'm just not feeling the full trek right now for whatever reason. So that's the way she goes. I feel like I got the hardest part done. But I'm not going to do it just for the sake of doing it. If I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. And just do more day hikes and shorter day backpacks until we head out west. That's where my mind's at now. There's been something weird going on with my feet. I mean, I'm used to them being cold and then just warming them up. But I think from using those snowshoes the initial couple of days, I've got like some abrasions on the top of a couple of my toes. But then I've got some stuff going on with my a couple of toenails. It looks like there's might be like little baby blisters at the tops of the toes. Anyway, at the end of the day, when like I get my feet warmed up, they get really painful for a while, and then everything gets back to normal, I guess, when they get back to body temperature. But it's not enjoyable, and it's been consistent. So if it was just one or two nights, I wouldn't worry about it at all. But it's been a consistent thing now, and the last thing I want is any problems with my feet for all the stuff we've got planned in a couple months. So that's where we're at right now. Gonna enjoy the coffee and then take off my warm socks and put on the cold, wet ones over there, put on the cold, wet trail runners, and get moving. Good morning, 7 a.m. from Mount Bond. It's pretty amazing up here. Making our way down to Lincoln Woods. (8 a.m. on a Sunday morning from the summit of BondCliff. What's up? We're making our way down BondCliff. We already went through the two big water crossings, and we'll hit the junction with the Old Wilderness Trail eventually. Saw a couple of day hikers going up. One solo guy might be doing a loop, and then two females. It was like 9:30. Who said they were going to Garfield Ridge Shelter. Good luck with that. If they make it that far, I'd be shocked. But there's plenty of other places to plunk down for the night. So yeah, it's a really nice day out, and still got some miles to get to the trailhead. What's up? So I figured I'd just do like a wrap up here, just because that last video from yesterday probably kind of ended abruptly. What happened? It's probably been about 24 hours since Sarah picked me up at Lincoln Woods Trailhead, back in civilization. And I think the plan is, I'll edit and upload these videos, so that'll take some time, that'll be fun. And looking at the calendar and when we're leaving for out west, my initial grand plan of doing a Direttissima yo-yo basically, as soon as I came down off of Franconia Ridge from Lafayette on day 7 in really bad weather, in my mind, the Direttissima was over. My purest thinking is, as soon as I left the trail and went home for a couple days, it was no longer a Direttissima. It was something, but it wasn't that. So when I got back on the trail a few days later, in the back of my head, I was thinking, all right, I'll just keep on going, and at least on the yo-yo, the back end of it will still be a Direttissima. I'm just kind of in that mode right now. So I did a Direttissima last year around the same time, late April 30th I started, and most of May I was out there. And so this is a similar time frame. And I feel like the conditions of the snowpack on the trail this year, I feel like it's the base of the snowpack is higher, and also the temperature may be a little bit, even though it wasn't really sunny out for a lot of the days I was out there, it was kind of rainy and above freezing. And I feel like I really didn't have a lot of opportunities where sections of trail that don't see a lot of use this time of year, Kinsman Ridge, Garfield Ridge, were really bad. Just really unconsolidated, just the worst kind of snow to be trekking through. The only break I got this year was Twinway, from South Twin to West Bond, I guess you could say. Last year that was terrible. This year it was okay. I hit it early in the morning and got through it good. But yeah, so after another 3 days out there, I just, the trails are not a whole lot of fun right now, especially with a big backpack on. Not a whole lot of fun for me anyway. So in my mind, I'm going to wait about 2 weeks, and I still have enough of a time frame to still do a Direttissima. It just won't be a yo-yo. And I think the plan is I'll kind of mix it up and start at Cabot and go the other way this time, just for fun. Lessons learned this trip, I love my trail runners. And even into late season, out west when you're late September, early October, where there's ice and issues, I've never had an issue with microspikes on the trail runners as far as messing up my feet. But I think using the snowshoes the first couple days with the trail runners was not good for my toes. A couple of my toes are really bruised up pretty good. I guess you would call them blood blisters is what they kind of look like, but they're really painful, like on the tips of my toes, on a few of them. And then adding to that, then putting the microspikes on those pressure points. And if it was just solid ice I was going on top of, I don't think it'd be an issue, but because there was so much sinking and post-holing and ripping your leg back out, it really caused a lot of wear on the top, like the knuckle of my toes and on the tips of my toes, and really making like half of them pretty painful. So lesson learned, I think if I were to do a similar time frame again, I would go with not like a winter boot, but a mid-layer boot, at least for the first, however bad the snow is, just so that the traction devices aren't tearing my feet up. So that was the main thing. Other lesson learned this little trip was, I keep saying little trip. This is probably the hardest backpack I've ever done. It ended up being, 10 nights in total, 12 days, with a 2-day break in between. Had one really good solid day of sun, one half day of sun, and the rest of it was all clouds, rain, snow, etc. The other lesson learned, where was I? Yeah, my lighters, the way I store my big lighters in my backpack, I think I need to put them in a Ziploc bag, which I've never done before, because they all failed on me all at the same time after that big rainstorm. It must have somehow gotten the flint mechanism or whatever they use for a Bic. It just messed them all up. I was able to resuscitate one, but it really tore up my hand trying to get that going. And then, I had other solutions, but don't want to have that issue again. yeah, so that's where we're at. Gonna let my toes heal up. Probably, yeah, 2 weeks from today. The plan is to get dropped off at Cabot and try going the other way. Um, just with the long range forecast, a lot of the snow or, and a lot of the crumbling monorails should be, um, instead of being like a mile or a mile and a half, it'll probably just be spurts of it, which is very easy to manage. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So yeah, you never know how these trips are going to work out. I had big plans for a Direttissima yo-yo, but the weather and my body wasn't cooperating 100%. But I still have time to have a nice big trip out there. Um, Other years, I'd be happy with the trip I just had because looking back on it, was pretty wild, pretty intense. Some of those days up on the ridges, I couldn't even film it because it was just insane weather. Um, so I'll always have these memories in my head, even though wasn't able to record them. So that's where we're at. Going to edit these videos, um, and hopefully see you guys on the trail in a couple weeks. Take it easy.